No, that's not true. That's not true. No, not at all. When the Christians took up arms long before the Crusades. Christians were fighting against Islamic conquest before the First Crusade. Because Christians in the East were fighting to defend their lands. The Byzantine armies were Christian armies. Here's a Greek. The Byzantine armies of Constantinople, before the First Crusade, in the 10th century, they were reclaiming Syria. Actually, what people don't know about Christian history is that the initial Arab conquests were being reversed by the Byzantine Empire on its own, without any help from anybody. And if it weren't for the Turks converting to Islam and the Seljuk Turks coming in on the side of the Muslims, we would have actually reclaimed those lands that were conquered by Arab Muslims. Because it had already started the process. The Arabs were beaten at the doors of Constantinople, and the Christians were retaking the lands that they had lost. Now, the thing is, bro, the same question I've asked multiple people. How many Christian lands can Muslims invade before Christians are allowed to fight back?
The thing is, they're eternally damned anyway. If we die for the testimony of Jesus, we don't have to face the second death. So whose benefit is it for us to fight back? It's our benefit as true believers to die martyrs of Jesus Christ straight to heaven, and leave this world behind, and leave the evil people to do their evil as evil does. Why should we? If we're not here on this earth, apart from to call people to salvation, and like, I would personally not kill. I would rather be killed than to kill someone.
Can I respond?
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
Can I respond? So, bro, couple of questions.
Because I know you got more knowledge on this than I have as well.
Right?
So that's...
You as a Christian are not called just to bring people to salvation. You as a Christian are called to bring people to salvation, but you are also called to pursue justice. And to fight against injustice.
But
Sharia law is the very definition of injustice.
Of course,
so is communism. So you are called to fight against those injustices. Okay? Now, let's be clear. I want to do a thought experiment.
Is that biblical though? That
Yes, of course it is.
Where is it? Like, I'm not being like difficult. I just want to know, like, where is it laid out that we're called to fight against the injustice? Physically fight against the injustice.
How are you going to stand against? You're in a body, right?
By speaking up for it, rebuking people, and like doing as like Saint Paul. They died for
let's just do a thought experiment. Many saints also died in battle, just so you know. Everyone forgets that, but there are many saints that died in battle. So let me just ask you this question. Do a thought experiment with me, okay? You go home tonight, or you go to your mum's house, where your mum lives. You approach the house has been broken into. As you enter the house, you think, oh crap, someone's robbed my mum's house. But then you hear a scream from upstairs. You run upstairs because you recognise that it's your mum. You burst in and you see a man that you've never met before raping your mother. What do you do next?
You smash shit out of him.
You smash the shit out of him. Do you think that you're committing evil when you do that?
Yes.
You think you are?
Well,
so you think... Wait, hold on one second. So you think the almighty and holy God thinks that you're evil for defending your mother?
Not I'm evil, but the act is... I don't know, the act of, if I killed the man, it would be, I would see as a sin that you would need to repent for. You would need to...
I would agree.
You need to repent for it. So
I would agree.
It's not that a murder... Like, I literally had the exact same conversation with someone 5 minutes ago. So what I'm trying to say is, it's not that... If a man is a murderer and a man's in the army...
Let's just talk about it theologically. All right, I agree. If you kill him, you have to repent. My question to you is, do you actually believe that a holy God would look at these two acts of violence, the man raping your mother and you fighting to defend your mother from rape, and say that they are both the same?
No, of course not. Not.
So we are clear then that it is not unholy to fight against evil.
Yes, but it's not unholy to fight against evil, but we have to be confident in our own discernment to be able to discern between evil and good. Because for example, when you're going over to Syria, I was saying this, that people go over to Syria fighting against the Islamic State. They go over there, Christians, we're doing a Christian job, we're liberating the people of here, yeah? What happens if they kill someone and then they think, oh, I did a good job, like I'm actually alright to kill this person? But then what if they kill like an innocent civilian without realizing, or they're killing like somebody who actually was innocent, but in the eyes of God they're innocent, but in our mind, what we've been told by our government, they're not innocent. So that's where it becomes very difficult to say when should we kill and when should we not.
But the thing is, I mean, granted,
yeah,
right, we're talking about very extreme examples.
Yeah,
right.
Course,
ISIS, sadly, is not a fiction.
Yeah, no,
ISIS is sadly a real thing.
It's very real.
They really went into Christian villages. They really killed people. They really kidnapped Christian children, and they're still doing it. And they really raped Christian women. Right? We're not talking about some fictional scenario, right? I would say when those Christians were fighting against ISIS, the most Christian thing to do would be to support them in that fight.
Yeah, I would say that as well, but that's because we know that ISIS is 100% immoral and wrong. But at the same time, we should still always be on the defensive as a Christian, because if we start going aggressive, then we become no better than our enemy.
I agree with you. In terms of the Christian principles about war, there are three vaguely, slightly nuanced different positions. You have the Reformation view, which is this idea of just war. Yeah, the idea of just war, so that war can be a good thing in certain extreme circumstances. Just so you know, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, when ISIS first kicked off, he called for military intervention against ISIS.
Yeah.
And that's the leader of the Anglican Communion in England.
Yeah.
All right, so this is not just Bob saying it in the park.
I know.
The Archbishop said it. All right, the primate. Now, in terms of the Western tradition, you have this idea that war in certain extreme circumstances can be justified, and in those circumstances the fighter can be doing a noble and good thing.
Yeah.
Now there is an Eastern Orthodox position on war, which is again that in certain extreme circumstances war can be fought. But from their point of view, even when you're fighting for good reasons, you still have to repent of sin afterwards.
That's where I would, from my understanding,
so
that's
you
where
fall,
I would lie.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So you fall within the panorama of a Christian worldview.
Yeah.
And all I'm saying is, don't be embarrassed by it.
No. But
don't be embarrassed by it.
No.
Right, Christians.
But all I'm saying is, I just think we as Christians, we should shine. We should be shining examples of how pacifism can work first, and aggression should be the last result.
Do you see me arguing with you?
No, of course
exactly.
not. But I've seen your videos on YouTube and I see you get quite aggressive with people.
Because I'm arguing against people. When I'm arguing against other Christians on this point, it's because other Christians are arguing that pacifism is a moral obligation, and it is just not true. That is not a Christian worldview. Pacifism is not a moral obligation. You can choose to be a pacifist as a Christian, and that is a completely legitimate choice for a Christian to make.
Yeah.
But you cannot tell other Christians that they cannot fight.
Yeah. No, yeah, of course. Like, you can't tell anyone anything for sure. But what I'm saying is, for me, I think if we've got one group of people like the Muslims, they're very, very aggressive in their conversions. Like I was having a conversation with someone over there.